This morning's reading is from our primary hymnal here. Some wonderful readings at the back of this book if you hadn't had a chance to look. Number 529, I chose today. The stream of life. The same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy through the dust of the earth in numberless blades of grass and breaks into tumultuous waves of leaves and flowers. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean cradle of birth and death, in ebb and flow. I feel my limbs are made glorious by the touch of this world of life, and my pride is from the life throb of ages, dancing in my blood this moment. Feel that, this moment. We now have another moment of prayer and silent meditation available to us. So if again you would find the place that's comfortable in you, in whichever way that is, eyes closed or open, and take this moment to hear this prayer and to be in silence in your own heart. In this one perfect, precious moment, right here and right now, every person here is unfolding to the next moment in their life, to the next hour, to the next day. May these next moments be connected with the essence of all that is good, love, peace, joy, harmony. Letting go and letting life. Amen. The reading chosen for today is a responsive reading. Number 531 in the same hymnal. I will read the bold, if you will read the italic. It's called The Oversoul by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Let us learn the revelation of all nature and thought, that the highest dwells within us, that the sources of nature are in our own minds. I am constrained every moment to acknowledge a higher origin for events than the will I call mine. Every moment when the individual feels invaded by it is memorable. The soul's health consists in the fullness of its reception. Within us is the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty, to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one. So here we are, a new year. I thought about what to speak about, and of course it's typical to talk about the new year, the beginning, resolutions, those kind of things, and I couldn't help having something on that order because a year ago, almost today, we moved to a place called Resolution Road. We moved from a little cottage in P-Town to this beautiful place in Truro with this expansive view. We said we'd never, ever, ever, ever leave. Never, ever, ever going to leave town. Only going to live in town. Only want to live in town. Said it 100 million times. And then we saw this view. And it called us and kept calling us and calling us and calling us. And so we left. And we went for the higher view, an expansive view. It's quiet. It's removed. All the things we never thought we would do. So I began to get a little curious about the name of that road. It seemed auspicious, this idea of resolution. So, of course, being a word person like many of you are in the audience, I know many of the writers that are out there, I wanted to know we use the term resolution, New Year's resolution. We always say that, resolution, resolution. We say it all the time, but do we really know anything about that word? So I looked it up, of course, and it did have that definition that we all know about, but it's at the very end of the definitions. The first was a formal expression or agreement. Vote. We know that one, right? In political words. Resolution. Or the ability of microscopes or telescopes to measure. Resolution. The trait of being firm in your purpose. Resolute. Finding a solution, something settled or resolved, the opposite of inflammation or swelling, all resolution. The pixels per square inch, or clarity of picture. Resolution. A dissonant chord followed by a consonant chord. Resolution. And then the more familiar. A statement that solves a problem or a decision to do something or behave in a certain manner. The resolution that we're familiar with. So I was curious about this road and why it might be named a resolution road. What did that mean? So I started asking neighbors, the first thing you do. I don't go to Google, I go to neighbors. And I said, does anyone know the history of this road and why it's named Resolution? So several things came back. The first of which was a story about a ship that some people think sank or something happened to a ship named Resolution. And then the other was a woman's name, like Constance or Faith or Hope. Resolution. I kind of liked the latter. I thought it was a cool idea. A woman named Resolution and the road named after her. But what I found was evidence for the ship. So actually, there was a ship named the Resolution. It was a privateer in 1780 that 13 men from Truro and Wellfleet were on. And during that time, as you know, there was a lot of scuffling between the Kingdom of England and the folks out here. So men, mostly fishermen, would get these boats they called privateers, and they would go and they would seize the shipments from the British ships. So over a couple of years span, for example, they seized 200,000 tons of shipments on these little ships. So these men who were on this boat called the Resolution, there were 13 of them, and they were actually listed in the historic record, which I just loved, that we know who they are. Thomas Cobb, Isaac Snow, Joseph Cromwell, Elias Gage, Stephen Young, Jeremiah Newcomb, Aquila Rich, Samuel Curtis, Nathan Atwood, Eliezer Higgins, Elisha Jones, Joseph Pierce, and Ezekiel Rich. Those 13 men were on this boat, the Resolution, and they were apprehended. And all 13 were sent to jail in England. So I wondered about the name of that boat for them. Was it this trait of being firm in purpose, finding a solution? Was it named after a woman? Certainly those men were firm in their purpose in finding a solution and settling the problem of oppression, resolving their grand desire for freedom and self-determination. You know the words that we hear a lot, but we never say. We hear them. Therefore, be it resolved. Anyone heard that? You hear it in political speaking. You hear it in meetings, community meetings, but they're always somewhat political. It's always about politics. Therefore, be it resolved. And then it goes on to say what it is that's going to be resolved. We don't say it ourselves, at least I don't. I don't know. Do you go around your house or in your mirror saying, therefore, be it resolved? Do you say it to your mate or your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend? Therefore, be it resolved? We don't actually use the term. We let it be used in formal situations. But what if we did? What if you and I said, therefore, be it resolved? Because each time you've heard those words and you've seen it on a document, it has gravitas, it has meaning. It says, we are standing behind these words that follow. Therefore, be it resolved. So I thought about it. What am I resolved about? What am I clear about? What can I see absolutely clearly? Where's the resolution? Very, very fine for me. And I came up with these things. There's nothing material that will ever satisfy me. There's nothing material that will bring lasting joy. There's nothing material that will bring me peace. There's nothing material that will make me feel love. I was clear about that. And when I say material, I don't just mean things that we can touch. I mean the material world, the people, places, things, experiences, circumstances. Yes, furniture, dwelling places, and stuff, but none of it. Nothing that's outside of myself. So if I resolve to say that the material doesn't mean anything in my life, and it's not what drives me, and it's not what is going to bring me the peace and lasting joy and the feeling and expression of love that I desire, then what is? What is this immaterial stuff? Well, we know that we have thoughts, we have feelings and emotions. And we talked at the beginning from that reading about this life that moves through us. So I invite you to, as Diane shared with us last week, to full body awareness as you listen to this reading again about that which is internal. The reading again from Rabindranath Tagore, who I've learned is a Bengali Nobel laureate, because of his poetry and songs and movies have been made from this wonderful being's work. The same stream of life that runs through my veins night and day runs through the world and dances in rhythmic measures. It is the same life that shoots in joy throughout the dust of the earth in numberless blades of grass and breaks into tumultuous waves of leaves and flowers. It is the same life that is rocked in the ocean cradle of birth and death in ebb and flow. I feel my limbs are made glorious by the touch of this world of life, and my pride is from the life throb of ages, dancing in my blood at this moment. In my blood at this moment. You find yourself alive, yet you did not create yourself. You find yourself breathing, yet you do not breathe yourself. All that is within is life itself. Right now. Every one of us is on a path. We're on a search. We're on a search for meaning, for happiness. Everything we do is moving toward what we consider our good. And for every one of us, it may be different. But what I've learned and what I resolve to live from is that what I'm searching for, I'm searching with. If I'm searching for peace, I am peace right here. There's nothing out there that's going to bring it to me. Searching for love, I am love right here. There's nothing out there that's going to bring it to me. So what if the good and the intangible is what we resolve to focus on and let everything else follow? It's an experiment I live as my life. So if I said, therefore be it resolved, that I take my attention away from the material and focus my energy on the immaterial, take my attention away from the impermanent and the changing, and focus it on the changeless, on the eternal life energy I'm surrounded by and living in. What would that be like? remaining fascinated and curious about this experience rather than trying to get somewhere, trying to get something, trying to be more, do more, have more, using it up, running away from it because it may end. And what does Mary Oliver say? What will you do with this one wild and precious life? And Emerson's words we read in the beginning, within us is the soul of the whole. The highest dwells within us. I believe this to be true. And yet, there are times I feel small and inconsequential, like a footprint in the sand that the tide washes away too soon. Anyone ever have that feeling? But then I look at the ocean, I look at the bay, and I look at the water, and I watch its movement, and I say, can a wave in the ocean be inconsequential? Isn't the wave in the ocean the ocean? Isn't that what I am? A wave or a particle in life? I think so. I wrote a piece for a character in a play that I worked on some time ago, and she was in this play. This character was contemplating this idea of materialism and consumerism versus the inner life. And I wrote this for her. Today I stop wanting. I realize I have everything. I now allow my desires to flow through me and their fulfillment follow naturally, just like everything that lives in this universe. Nothing is withheld. Nothing is missing. Everything is mine. As a child of the Most High, I have been invited, I have been welcomed, I have been beckoned over and over and over again. Come drink, come eat, come sit, be held, behold. I give you the kingdom, which is every dream of your heart. Because I placed them there before there was time. I placed them there and they were already true because they've always been true. Today, I stop wanting. There was a program on the other day about how children have forgotten how to play. So one family took their children away from the city and from the video games and the constant scheduled activities and the pressure to go to the right college. And they took their children to a meadow. And they lived by the lake. And their children learned to sit and listen to birds and to paint. One child of about 7 spoke into the camera, and his voice reached my heart. He said, I think we are so rich. I think so many people are so rich. With nature, we have beauty and a place to play, and it gives us food, and we don't know that we are so rich. He seemed sad, I think, at 7. Sad that we didn't know that we could stop wanting, that everything had already been given and we just needed to stop and notice. Notice when the Queen Anne's lace has bloomed. Notice when the birds fly and when they return. Notice that the sun sets and rises and that the tides move constantly. And everything is changing. Good. I wrote this 5 years ago, deeply in the throes of striving and reaching and trying to be more, have more. And then I settled down into a flow and said, sweet free life is all that I need. And then I forgot this past year. And started wanting and striving again. Feeling like the prodigal daughter, much like the prodigal son. If you remember that story. The son gets the riches. Both sons have riches. One son stays near the father and behaves in a responsible way. The other one goes and squanders everything and loses it. Comes back with nothing and says to his father, I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. So he got up and went to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. That is the beauty of the story. Not the falling away, not the loss of things, but the coming back into the embrace. The wholeness of life, love itself, nature, beauty, peace, never ever leave you. Never ever deny you their embrace. No matter how many times you forget, how many times you wander away from it, how many times you lose yourself in material life, you lose yourself in the idea of something else. Life itself, love itself, falls on you and kisses your neck every day, all the time, without fail. Therefore be it resolved that the Most High dwells within me. I allow it to break through my intellect, my will, and my affection. I accept the genius, virtue, and love that expresses as me. I focus on the highest thought that I can reach on any given day, any given moment. I reach within and let unfold from me that which I desire. We moved to Resolution Road, following a higher view that kept calling us out of our comfort zone. See, life itself does not want to be contained and small and comfortable. It wants to grow in us, as us, through us. It wants to express greater and greater. It wants to be bigger as us, not in things, but in essence, in vibration, in who we are, and what we give, and how we show up. Therefore, be it resolved. Let that sink into you right now. Take a moment. What is it for you? Therefore, be it resolved. Therefore, be it resolved that you live life today, that you let life live through you, that you let go and let life, the life that knows how to act on the planted seed, the life that knows how to move the bird on its wing, the life that knows how to rise the sun and set it, the life that knows how to turn the world on its axis, the life that knows how to move your blood, move your breath. Let go and let life, and let it be resolved. Blessed be.